The name is Bond. James Bond. Please.
I don't know how to say goodbye.
Actions speak louder than words.
What a view.
To a kill.
Oh, Jay.
Hello, everyone. This is Andreas Pop Culture Guy. Tonight, we have a spectacular Andreas Pop Culture Talk. Of course, we're continuing our Bond Mania. Of course, our latest Bond film we're going to discuss is A Review to Kill. As everyone knows, this is the 14th Bond film released in 1985, directed by John Glenn. This is his third directorial of the Bond series. He's going to direct 5. He started with For Your Eyes Only up to Dalton's last appearance of License to Kill. And of course, this is Roger Moore's 7th and last time playing James Bond, which is crazy. And I have to say, I'm very excited. I know these fellas for a long time. I've been to their podcast. If you check my playlist of guest spot, I've been to their podcast. They're awesome people, just like me, movie fans, love movies. Let me introduce them. The middle age reviews. Matt and Tim. Hopefully I say that right. Welcome to Andreas Pop Culture Talk. It's such a pleasure to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us, Andreas. Very excited to be here. I know that you just started to let guests on your show, so I know we're very honored to be here.
Yes. And I'm so happy to have you, Matt. It's been a long time. It's too long.
Well, thanks, Andreas. I'm surprised. I thought this was middle-aged, or I thought this was the MCU. My mistake. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
we know where we're at.
Yes,
we know where we're at.
We're at the far superior Andre's Pop Culture, talking about some James Bond. So,
yes. So it's a new thing. That's and just briefly discuss this. I think right now Jeff is not gonna be here with us. I haven't seen anything yet, but besides that, I started to get more comfortable expanding, my channel with other people. Obviously, you check out his channel, Luke from the Franchise Addict. He's been awesome. I was over his channel doing the Evil Dead series, which was kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
It was a good time, and because Evil Dead is kind of personal to me. Especially Evil Dead 2. That was very personal because it was me and my dad, and I was very happy to discuss that movie and in Evil Dead Rise. So I just want to thank him for pushing me and my comfort zone to get guests in my channel, and I knew I needed you to be on my podcast or whatever in my channel before the end of the year, because I couldn't be not sleep not to have you two guys, a review to kill. Let me go Red Robin. Let me start with you, Matt. What's your feelings about the Bond series? Are you a big fan of this series? And your thoughts on this film, A View to Kill? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first off, James Bond is probably one of my favorite characters. I'm a big fan of the Sean Connery James Bond. He will always be number one in my book. Roger Moore's probably closer to the bottom. Every time I watched one of his movies, I felt it was a little more camp than the classic Sean Connery James Bond. So I always look to the character more in the view of Sean Connery. But as far as A View to a Kill, it is a fun series, or it is a fun movie to watch out of the Roger Moore James Bond films. It's probably not my favorite Roger Moore, but it's definitely up there. And I just want to ask that opening trailer that you had there, was that something you cut together yourself, or was that something that was out there that you found?
I cut out for myself with different clips, and I put it together to start up the live stream.
Nice. Well, that's a pretty cool clip. I like that.
Yeah. I wish I had more time to do it, but I didn't have time because just getting ready for the show. But thank you, Matt. Yeah, I totally with your I agree with your thoughts. I like Sean Connery as well. That's how I started with James Bond. You Only Live Twice, the fifth film, was the thing that got me really into Bond. And then when Skyfall was coming out in 2012, I was like, okay, I love this series. But yeah, Tim, your thoughts on the James Bond series? Are you a big fan of the series or not? And what's your thoughts on this A View to a Kill, sir? Go ahead.
Yeah, I love the James Bond films, although it's a kind of a hit or miss thing for me. I've not seen a ton of them, remarkably. I remember as a kid, the James Bond toys. Like, which is weird that you would take a film like this and probably merchandise it towards kids, but they had a lot of really cool spy gadgets that they had out. Like, I remember there was a gun that came in a case that you could put together, and it had different configurations and things like that. There was money.
Yes.
And then there was some other toys that you could get to that weren't quote unquote James Bond, but they were still spy-esque toys. So we had a lot of those. And as kids, we really wanted to see these films. But most of the time, like especially Roger Moore was the Bond of my time. Like that's the first one I remember. I didn't even know Sean Connery existed yet. So Roger Moore was really kind of the man. And but the sexual content, when you're 11, your parents aren't exactly like, yeah, you can sit down and watch this film. So we kind of had to sneak and watch it, wait late at night when the parents went to sleep and watch them on HBO when we weren't supposed to and stuff. So it's kind of exciting. But yeah, I remember playing with toys a lot, just being infatuated with that. For me, Bond really became a mainstay in my life was the Pierce Brosnan era. And I always thought that was, when I seen him as Remington Steele, I'm like, this is a dude that should be Bond. And when they made him Bond, I was like, whoa, it doesn't get better than this, So that's really where I think my favorite Bond's at, although I've come to appreciate, Sean Connery as Bond. Absolutely. I mean, it makes sense when you see him now. But I would say Pierce Brosnan is absolutely my favorite one. And this movie, though, man, watch this. I'm going to admit this is my first time watching this one. And dude, it's kind of campy. It's some of the acting that's going on is crazy. I mean, Grace Jones, she's crazy, man. She's just a character in herself. And so, and Roger Moore in this one, I mean, he's gotten long in the tooth, man. I looked at that, I'm like, he's got to be getting up there. Like, I'm not even sure that's his real hair. I'm like watching in the scenes when he's getting wet and only the sides are wet, not the top ever and stuff. So, and then it come to find out that, he was like, 57 when he did these. So even older than I am now, which is a stretch. As Matt likes to point out, I am the oldest one on the Middle Age Movie Reviews podcast. But he was even older than I am now when he did this one, and it shows. So I think that doesn't do it any favors, but it's still a fun movie. And Christopher Walken, how can you go wrong? I mean, I love Christopher Walken in anything. So again, you got Grace Jones, she's psycho, and then we get some Tanya Roberts, which took me a few minutes, and I'm like, that's Midge from that '70s show. I'm like, I had to close my eyes. I'm like, that's the voice. So yeah, she was quite the smoke show when she was younger. So I was like, whoa. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got one thing to say to you, Tim.
Yeah.
Beastmaster.
Okay. Well, I do remember. I didn't remember her being a Beastmaster, but now that I've watched this and got the voice, I'm like, it's starting to come back to me a little bit. But Beastmaster, again, one of those films I watched but didn't watch a lot. It's not the greatest film out there. And if I've got my choice between 80s films like that, it's going to be Conan every time over Beastmaster for sure.
I know her from that '70s, so of course I grew up watching that show. I was shocked she was one of the angels for Charlie Angels for the final season. Just want to bring that up. So
was she?
Yes, she was.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny that you have her here because her character she played was Julie Rogers in this TV show. So yeah, she ran from like 1980 to 1981, like the final season of that show.
Oh, she took over for Farrah Fawcett, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, because Fawcett left like around 78 or 80 around there. Yeah, what was it, like many years? It was like when her when she passed, unfortunately. Rest in peace. I didn't know she was in this movie. I was like, that was not her, and because I don't know, like in that '70s show, she had like was she blonde in that show? Oh my god.
Yes, she was blonde in that one,
Yeah.
but I mean, by that point, she's gone up in age quite a bit. Doesn't
Yeah,
look
yeah,
quite
I
like
guess
she does
so.
here. Not that she was a bad looking woman there too, but yeah, it just when you see her younger self and you don't really realize, you're like, whoa, like yeah, again, smoke show all the way.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you're talking about close to 25 years between that '70s show and A View to a Kill. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
she had to pack on some mileage.
Yeah.
and I don't think she had an easy life, if I remember right. I think she's had some ups and downs.
Yeah. I mean, as usual, yeah, some like disease, and then of course, COVID happened, and then I think her condition was, I don't know what she had, but like it was something like advanced syphilis or something like that. But yeah, it was a tough time for her, in these last, like before the pandemic actually kicked in. But yeah.
Well, I think the reason we lose track of her too is because this is the last really big major blockbuster film she's ever going to be in, and then she kind of falls off the map and does better when she moves over to TV. I think.
TV, yeah, no, I agree. I haven't seen any of her films. Beastmaster, I heard of. I mean, again, another fantasy sorcery film that was in those like other ones like Kroll and oh my god, Cohen, and Dark, not Dark Side. I'm sorry. Oh my god, Dark Crystal. Like those other ones. I'm like, oh my god, there's so many of them. We got it.
Red Sonja, can't leave out Red Sonja.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Red Sonja. Well, and for me, Latrin, anyone? David Bowie.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, that was my jam. And speaking of age, Tim, you hit it right there. When Moore was shooting this film, he was 57, so he was long under the tooth. And it's funny, he was originally, just kind of give some trivia here, like Roger Moore was only signed for a 3-film contract. So from 73, when he started with Live and Let Die, up to Spy Who Loved Me, the best of his films, I have to say, from 1977. But then it was kind of like the Hugh Jackman of the X-Men films. After his well, this is true, because like I think just like Jackman, it was always a contract by basis. Like I think he was willing to come back, if the pay was good, for the next film or so, raise. And Moonraker was a big hit, so that was good. For Your Eyes Only, so it was interesting. For Your Eyes Only was supposed to be his last film, and Octopussy was supposed to be the new Bond, but famously, because that came out in 1983, who came back to be James Bond? Of course, Sean Connery himself. And of course, in the 1983 film, Never Say Never Again. And so Eon had to convince Moore to do Octopussy to be competitive to that other Bond, unofficial film. And and then I think because I was just looking at the background for this film, I think his lawyer or agent, because of Octopus, he was able to give him a bigger raise for this movie. But I think Moore knew it was his time to go, because the media was so bad with Moore because they never liked him, because that was that weird thing, like they were comparing him to Sean Connery, and because I get it, like Sean Connery is the best Bond, in terms of performance, but also the films he had were so great. Come on, Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, and Thunderbolt, You Only Twist, Dinosaur Forever is not like top tier, but like it's still, they have iconic moments that like we all know from James Bond, So it's like it was kind of unfair for Moore to be compared to that, and his films were campy and fun, but like that was what people want during that time, right? We're not there yet with the dark and gritty, Bond yet, up to his next predecessor, Dalton, became more of that, So it was kind of sad. But yeah, and anything else I guess to bring up besides that, the 007 stage for Pinewoods famously got caught on fire because of the other movie that was the fantasy one, Legend by Ridley Scott. Something got I don't know, like one of their lights got like kind of burst and like caught the fire on that 00 stage, and so they had to rebuild it before the filming of this movie. So those are my trivias. And the other things that was interesting, like the villain Zorin, before Christopher Walken took the role, initially they wanted David Bowie to play him, Zorin, the main villain.
I don't see that working. I just don't.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I would take him over Sting. That was the next offer they did, was to give it to Sting. I was like, no, I don't need Sting to be Zorin.
I mean, name me one person who's been a musician that's moved into the movies that's done well. There isn't any. That doesn't happen. Oh, the best performance ever, I would say, by a musician was Tom Petty when he was on The Postman. That was it. Because he shows up, he's like, "Oh man, yeah, aren't you famous?" He goes, "No, man, you're famous." That was it. It's like, okay, perfect.
I don't know. I had to disagree with you, Tim. I think David Bowie did do a good job of transitioning from music to film, because he was in quite a few movies, and I think he did a great job in the roles that he did.
Yeah, but there was kind of freaky movies too, though. So are you enamored with him or with the movie?
Yeah. Well, at least those movies fit with him. That's the thing.
That's true.
Yeah. That's where I agree with Matt. Like he actually picked like the right roles for him, which that like even the his last movie one I remember, like, it's actually the Christopher Nolan film, the Prestige. He's in that movie as Tesla, and like he fit right there. Like just.
But even in this one, we got Grace Jones, and she's a total freak show, man. I mean, I don't know, like she's almost to the point of being distracting. I think in the film. I mean, don't get me wrong, she works well as a crazy villain, but almost to the point of being over the top. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a James Bond film. I guess many things were supposed to be over the top. But still, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. You know what? I'm going to take it back. There's one. I read Tina Turner. She did great in Mad Max. So there we go.
Yeah.
So,
no. I think I actually like Grace Jones as Mayday. Like she's like she's not like a top tier Hinch person in the Bond series, but like she's a mid tier. I think she's memorable. I like, in the way that make like she fits in the more like area, like his film. But if she was in like Bronson or in the Dalton films, she could have been easily like not fit in that like type of film that those actors were in. That's my thing, where I just felt like she fit right to this film.
I guess with the campiness of this film, you're right. She does almost fit, because this film almost verges on like a bad Adam West Batman episode to some degree, with some of the acting and with the way he beds down all these women, and it was like with her performance and stuff. It's just slightly over the over the top, like a 60s Batman episode. I don't know how else to explain it. Even Christopher Walken's a little bit kind of a maniacal bat villain. So
it's funny you should say that, because where do we see Christopher Walken pop up again with the name Max?
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, Max Shrek. And I'm like, he's wearing the same damn wig too.
That is true. He does look like his. Oh my god! Yes, his name is Max here. Oh my god, that is so funny. I didn't realize that.
You stumped the Batman aficionado, Matthew. Well done.
All right. Yeah. So,
oh my god.
So here's my theory is that, okay, so Max Zorin survives from his fall into what is it, the San Francisco Bay, and he manages to swim ashore, changes his identity, moves to Gotham, and becomes Max Shrek.
Yeah. Oh my
God. Did he fall? I don't remember now. Did he fall into the San Francisco Bay?
Yeah.
Or did he?
Well, he didn't fall so much as you see a dummy falling.
Right.
Yeah.
A blatant dummy falling into the water.
What's funny? he did the Joker thing where he was laughing to his death, or well, sort of before he like screamed, but yeah, it was that type of death. Like he was like happy and like kind of yeah, very weird villain role for this guy. Like
He's probably like, "Joke's on you! I'm a great swimmer."
yeah, he's gonna be raised by more businessman, and then he's gonna become the tycoon he's in Batman Returns.
There you go. We've
Yeah.
combined the Bond and the Batman worlds together. Here we go. Batman
Yes.
and Gotham reside in the same place.
Same place, yeah. Oh, and speaking of that, there's another franchise that this film also connects is the Avengers, the British Avengers, folks, not the Marvel, the Avengers.
I was like, wow, can't wait to see where this is going. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not going there, but no. It was really cool when I was, of course, I was getting into this franchise. It was really cool to see that Patrick Macy, who was the main star of the Avengers, to be in this film. That was nice because several of his cast members have been part of the Bond films, like obviously the awesome and the late great Diane Rigg was Tess and On Her Majestic Surface, and on was it Honor Blackman?
Honor Blackman. She was Pussy Galore.
Yeah, Pussy Galore and Goldfinger. So it was really cool. And
Matthew,
then
you can't say that on YouTube.
yes, no way. Look, come on.
Character name. Come on.
His character name. Yeah.
All right.
So it was really cool that they actually brought him here for this movie, which is nice. And he actually worked with Moore before in another iconic British franchise or IP, Sherlock Holmes. He played Watson, and where Roger Moore played Sherlock Holmes. This movie is called Sherlock Holmes in New York. It was a 1976 made-for-television mystery film. So you can check that out.
Didn't the two of them work together on The Saint as well, the British television series? Or am I misremembering?
Let me check his. I know. I actually, that's another thing. I'm surprised that he did The Saint, Roger Moore. I was kind of surprised about that. Let me check. I think so. No, I don't think so because I think that's someone else in The Saint.
Okay.
Yeah, because.
No, he's in The Saint. Roger Moore is.
Yeah,
Roger Moore.
Oh, okay.
I think he's talking about the other actor.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay.
From the Avengers. No.
It's me.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with The Saint. I just know the Val Kilmer, the late great Val Kilmer's version from 1997,
which was awesome.
Yeah. Really.
And it had a Roger Moore cameo in that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
At the end of the movie, when you see Simon Temple driving off in the car, he turns the radio on, and the voice on the radio is Roger Moore.
Okay. That made a lot of sense because he sounded familiar. I seen the film. It's been so many years I seen the film. But yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense because I knew he sounded familiar because I seen one of the Moore films before. But yeah, and what else? Other tidbits, Eastern casting stuff. Obviously, for the role that Tanya Roberts was, she wasn't not the original one. They actually went asking for actually the Naked Gun star, Priscilla Presley, to be that character, but her contract with Dallas prevented that. So we got.
She'd have done well. I think she'd have done well in the role as well.
Yeah. Because no offense, to Roberts, I adore her. I love her, and the 70s show as funny, but her character here was so like she's like the weakest Bond girl, unfortunately, in this series. I have to say.
Yeah, I think she's the hottest Bond girl and the weakest Bond girl. I think.
Yeah.
She kind of tips the scale both ways. Not to mention, from what I remember, I think she was really hard to work with too. I think she was all about herself. Very much.
Yeah.
Into her looks and stuff. It was kind of a diva on the set.
Yeah, and I just, no offense, I cannot see her as like, what was her role? The geographic person.
She's a geological surveyor.
The survey, yeah. I like, come on, like, and this is nothing new. Like James Bond series has done that. Like, come on, like Dennis, you're telling me the Dennis Richards, the Star Trek Troopers, the Wild Things actress, that she's like this chemist in The World's Not Enough, and like her name was Dr. Christmas Jones. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, oh my god, it's this is not gonna be the first and only time. Like we gonna see this a couple times in the Bond series, unfortunately. And just wrapping up the trivia here. If you didn't catch this cameo, you know that Dolph Lundgren was dating Grace Jones, and when Soren and Mayday are confronted with the USSR
The KGB.
the KGB agents, you see briefly Dolph Lundgren there and helping his agent out, which is, I was like, oh my god, he's in that. I didn't even recognize him.
He gets like a 15-second cameo as he holds his gun and points it towards Zorin.
Yeah,
it was kind of neat to see a young Dolph Lundgren. I mean, this is just before
Rocky IV, right?
IV.
Yeah, because it's the same year in 1985. Yeah, it's crazy. All right, let's get into the recap. Because this is where, like, I do agree with Tim. This is where we really get into like a Batman level of camp. So so we start with our usual like gun barrel of James Bond, which is always cool, and we get into we get into this like frosty location that is I think
Siberia.
Thank you. And we see 007 doing some using some micro location machine, and we're seeing like the Russian soldiers and helicopter are like also looking for something, and of course 007 locates the body of 003, and he recovers a Soviet microchip. And great chase scene. I really like this. But then after, I think some point when like I think he lost one of his like I don't know what you call it, like skis. Thank you. Some randomly Beach Boys song pops up. I don't know where, during this chase scene, and then he safely goes into this like this disguised ice cube that's like a ship. It was like, oh my god.
It looked like they took the dog car from Dumb and Dumber and just put it in water, and it was all like wet looking.
Yes. Oh my god. I don't know. It might have been like the I don't know, the Back to the Future car. Like it might have been
DeLorean?
The DeLorean. Thank you. Oh my god. Yeah.
Not to mention that it's going to fool every Russian there, because here's this iceberg and it's just trucking right along through the water. Like, that seems normal to me. How about you, comrade?
Leaving a pretty decent wake too.
Yeah,
exactly. And then here he's with this like beautiful assistant, and as typical with Bond, he's gonna seduce her. And
it's the inside of stuff that gets me, because he gets in it and it's like, there's a giant like half circular couch in there. Like, what military builds a submarine with a half circular couch in it? And he gets down in there and you see him start to undress. He hits that button. I'm like, oh shit, it's turning into a bed, isn't it? Oh, it's totally turning into a bed.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I would say there's two things that I want to unpack about that whole intro. Okay, sure. First off, this screams Austin Powers. All the Austin Powers movies, they clearly ripped off the campiness of Roger Moore, and the fact that when he shows up and you see the little submarine turned iceberg or iceberg turned submarine, and the hatch opens up, there is clearly the Union Jack on there.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, that is clearly they clearly ripped that off of, or Austin clearly ripped that off of James Bond. And then the whole, okay, I've got a ski that I took off of a snowmobile because it blew up, and then I've now invented snowboarding. And instead of having a classic score over it, they throw the Beach Boys on there as a kind of a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. See what we did here? We invented snowboarding, basing it off of surfing, or snurfing, as it was invented back in the late 60s.
Dude, when I see that, it's always like, I think they're about to create snowboarding, because when you see that thing drop in, you see those hoops in there, and I'm like, those are for somebody's feet. There's no way it came off that snowmobile like that. This dude's going to snowboard. And I'm like, oh shit, he is snowboarding.
Exactly. As I'm watching the movie, I'm looking up when was snowboarding invented, and it was invented in Michigan in the late '60s, and they called it snurfing because it combined surfing and snow. So they called it snurfing, and I'm like,
my God.
that just sounds very Smurfy to me.
I was just thinking the same thing. Let's go snurfing. It'd be smurferific.
Oh my God. This is, yeah, I, good point. Because when that was a ski bike was exploded, I knew he's gonna pick up that one like rimmed big black thing and turn it into a surfboard. And I was like, yep, he made it into a surfboard somehow. And Tim was right. It's like, oh my God, it's just so out there. But after he seduced this young lady, I had to
who coincidentally is also sitting in the submarine waiting for him in her snowmobile outfit, but apparently doesn't need any shirt and just has it all unzipped, completely getting ready to expose herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, must be very warm in there.
Yeah, I think she read the script. It's like, okay, Bond is gonna seduce you. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna wear anything. It's like he's gonna seduce me. Okay.
You're going to wear a snowsuit and nothing else.
Yeah, nothing else.
If you guys remember, from survival, if you ever did any survival training as, I don't know, like a Boy Scout or something, that snowsuits and everything work better when you're nude in them.
Right.
And sleeping bags, There you go.
And you should properly vent so you don't overheat. So you should have it half zipped down.
Yeah, exactly.
Because sweat is the enemy.
Yeah, sweat is the enemy. I actually do agree with that. But anyway, and then after that is over, we get a pretty cool, I gotta say, one of the best, at least Moore's movie has the best song to send off this movie. And just Live and Let Die, I mean that movie is really good, but many people remember the Paul McCartney Live and Let Die song, and it's so grained to pop culture. A View to Kill from Duran Duran is one of the top best Bond music. I did not turn off my when I finished my review on this movie today, and I just wanted to listen to that song in the end credits because it's so good. The credits here is awesome. I love speaking of sipping the woman's uniform, it's so cool to see that we see a lady sipping on. You see 007 with the neon, black paint, whatever you want to call it, and then it says, "Oh my God,
that intro is all 80s, 100%.
80s, exactly." And then you just hear this great tune, which is awesome. And I don't know, I had to think about the top 10, but this has to be top 5. I had to feel because.
I think it's the only Bond theme song to ever hit top 10 radio too. I think it actually was a hit if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So in my notes it say it performed well on the charts, became the only Bond theme song to reach #1 in the Billboard Hot 100. And so Duran Duran was very big this time, and this was the last thing. This is the last time they were together as a band when they were making this song.
Was it? Because I thought this was still during the Rio era, but I didn't realize they were already breaking up at this point in '85.
I'm pretty sure this was when they were at their height still. Because
it was just in my background. It was in that one of these docs I saw for this movie, and they say this was before. I think I may I misremembering. I think it's maybe after they were going to break up, but yeah, I don't know.
Because I gotta say, in '85, this is right around. Rito was '82, so that was really their top one in the '80s.
Yeah.
So they're just a little past their Rio era, or a couple of years past. But I don't think they broke up until the '90s somewhere, or they got a lot more sporadic. I guess I should say they weren't pumping out albums every year. So
when was Hungry Like a Wolf? Oh, Hungry Like a Wolf was '82. Okay.
Yeah, that was on the Rio album. That's the one that had all.
Really?
That's what. Yeah. Had all the big songs were on that album.
I think after Come Undone, that's when they kind of started, not being nearly as popular, and that was in '93. Because I remember while growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, that all the girls in school loved Duran Duran. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere you're walking around, they're sporting the Sony Walkman, listening to Duran Duran, dancing up and down the hallways. But yeah, I do remember that.
I just remember being a fairly big Duran Duran fan. This was the early 80s, was the my last stint into pop music before I learned of Iron Maiden and Ozzy around 85. And then I just went totally to the dark side and became a metalhead.
That is so funny to hear. Yeah, Cry by what was that song you brought up in '92? Was it Cry for Wolf? Oh my god, that song drove me nuts.
Hungry Like a Wolf, wasn't it?
Hungry Like a Wolf.
Hungry Like a Wolf, yeah.
I'm gonna say something, very unpopular. I have to say, I never liked that song because my camp used that so many times. It drove me nuts, and it's like, oh my god. And it's not the only time that happened to me. One of my Euro trips that I went to, they used Boys Joy's song,
Chameleon.
Yeah, Chameleon, right?
And, Culture Club.
Oh my god, I love Culture Club, and they use that song to wake me up when we were getting to our destination.
That's a weird one to wake somebody up to.
I know, it's so funny. It's like, oh my god, it's just, please don't do that because you ruined the masterpiece of these band songs, which is like annoying. All right, yeah. Get back to the plot, which I,
we've sidetracked you, man.
No.
You got to remember, you're talking to two guys that grew up in the 80s. So, I mean, we probably have a plethora of knowledge for you.
We're going to tell you more about the 80s than you ever cared to know, Andreas.
No, I do care. I love the 80s. I'm a big history buff, so I'm fine with hearing.
Ooh, ow!
Yeah, I into this history, and I'm fine about going as long because I love learning things, new. Speaking of that, so like Q, we get the usual thing where he meets up with the prime minister. Has become like a character in the series during like the late more films up to, since For Your Eyes Only. M is here, and then Q is here. He Q debriefs them about what they discovered in the microchip that Bond recovers, and that it's the same copy that's designed withstand electromagnetic pulse made by the government contractor Zorin Industries, and so they're realizing that this has been leaked, and the Russians probably have this this technology, and so Bond goes, as his usual thing, goes up to cover or starts his mission. So they go to this race game where they observe the company's owner, Max Zorin. By the way, I didn't know. I totally forgot his name is Max. I was like, oh my god, it's because I'm a Batman fan, and it's like, oh my god, Max Shrek, and it's like, and then we got here we get introduced to Sir Godfrey Tippett, who is a racehorse trainer that's helping with the MI6, to investigate this train thing because they believe that Zorin's horses are winning consistently because they're being drugged. Although the tests have been proven negative by the community or something like that. So through Tippett, Bond meets with the French private detective, a good friend of Tippett, and then he informs Bond that Zorin is holding a horse sale later in the month. But during the dinner at the Eiffel Tower, by the way, that is a really cool setting. I never. That's one good thing about this movie is the Eiffel Tower is a really great action scene. So unfortunately, the private detective gets killed, assassinated by Zorin's bodyguard Manday, who escapes, and we get this chase scene that is really good. Executed. I mean, because at this point, the Bond team just knew how to make action. But speaking of age, another issue I knew coming from this movie is because you can notice the double, and they're really trying hard to not show Roger Moore in these action scenes, and it's really noticeable. And I just want to preface this is nothing new. It's a traditional thing in movies that actor like I don't know, they were just lazy or just like so overthinking it. Is like just do what you do, just not show it and just present it well, you know.
It's hard to hide it though when you got a 57-year-old man trying to play an action star. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I know we got that going on now with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, but at least some of these guys like really work out and still try to stay in shape, and it's a little bit more. I mean, hell, Tom Cruise still is doing a lot of his own stunts, but Roger Moore, dude, he's 10 seconds away from walking with a cane, I think, in this one. So when you got a guy that has not kept himself up, looks like that, and then, has to have stunt doubles, you're not going to get a lot of 57-year-old stunt doubles at that time to, like, cover for him. So these younger guys are going to stick out like a sore thumb, I think.
Man, I don't know. I want to compare it more to whether it was like watching William Shatner fight in the classic Star Trek, or if it's like watching Rodney Dangerfield in Back to School doing the triple Lindy. You can clearly see the changes in body doubles, and it's just it's kind of hilarious. Not to the point where it like pulls me out of the movie, but you just kind of like you got to know that hey, this is this is the campiness of a James Bond film.
Yeah, but I accept it with Rodney Dangerfield. Like it just kind of adds the funniness of the comedy. They're trying to make a serious freaking action film here, and it's like, nah. I mean, it worked in Siberia because they could keep him in the snowsuit with the hood up and stuff. But now it's like, okay, now you got Roger with this bad hair, and these guys, especially the guy in Doom, require guys to be much more physically fit than Roger Moore. And I don't know. It was just bad. It was bad all the way around. You called it.
I just had to bring that up because that's another complaint people throw at this movie is that like like the whole running gag of like he's running to the tube and you could see that here the the stunt double, and it's like okay, I'm mixed of it like for me it's just that I think the story here is not good like compared to other Bond films, and we'll get into it. But
it's got some cool stuff going on though, and I think they're trying to. I think they're trying to hope to distract you with things like people diving off of the Eiffel Tower, and the whole car. The car's so ridiculous. Loses its hood, goes down. Although going down that staircase, reversing and doing that spin was pretty freaking awesome. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but it looked cool. But then the car getting cut in half, which was cool, but not realistic in any way, shape, or form. Plus, gas tanks are in the rear, so the car shouldn't have went any further. So they've rigged it to have a gas tank in the front that's still driving, which is hilarious and campy. Yeah. But I think they're hoping that that's kind of ridiculous stuff's going to distract you from the horrible Roger Moore stuntman transitions going on.
I mean, this is not the only example that's really bad. Like we'll get into it. I mean, some stuff like. Some shots are okay, and then some that are really bad. Like when he starts punching, is where like you can tell like it's a double, and I don't know. We'll get into it. So let me go right, Robin, to you guys. What do you thought about this section of the movie? Of like, let me go with you, Tim. What do you thought about like just getting into the mission, getting introduction to like Zorin as the villain, and like this plot about the horse race, and like this is gonna be like they're being affected by drugs and that they cannot find it as because the results are getting negative, and then the end point is like the chasing of the Eiffel Tower. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the beginning plot's good. I mean, it starts off like typical James Bond. He shows up from his mission that we see him at the beginning, and they're like, "Oh well, we've got this thing we need you to look into. Please go make sure you dress appropriately." So we're able to put him in these high society situations, which the horse race does. The horse racing does quite nicely. Gets him, to a state with breeders and things. So all that's very James Bond-esque. You know what I mean? And I think plot-wise, it's a pretty interesting plot throughout the film as we go along, and they kind of uncover more and more of it. It's like, okay, this is interesting and somewhat well thought out. But then again, as we've already discussed here a little bit, the attraction is, again, an old Roger Moore and just not believing he can pull this stuff off because he has not kept himself up. He doesn't look like he could pull this off, and his stunt doubles aren't doing him any favors. But then we got these kind of, again, interesting stunts. And I would think just, the diving off the Eiffel Tower. I mean, we've seen this in a lot of other shows too, where they'll do these free falls and then, parachute away and things like that. But, they're still cool to see. Again, the car chase is phenomenal. You know, it's very entertaining. The stuff that they did on there was really cool, and it's you know it was just fun. Although again, almost very campy Batman a little bit, you know, more so than a serious Bond film in my eyes. But I enjoyed this film for some of that, but it fights itself between wanting to be too serious and we can't be that serious, so we have to be campy, and it kind of conflicts with each other because it's like they couldn't decide which side of the coin they really wanted to film this, like as a really serious Bond film or as more of a campy Bond film. And I think if they'd have just gone 100% full on campy, it might have been better. But then again, would it have been a Bond film?
Yeah, no, I agree. There's always that problem with Bond. It's like their tones is always whiplash when we get into the later entries. Like the same issue I had with Die Another Day, the last Bronson film, where that has like tonal problems. You know, it's trying to be a series Bond, but then later it becomes this like campy, you know, crazy Bond film, like, which I'm fine with, but like you have to be consistent about that. But yeah, so Matt.
And there wasn't a lot of gadgets either. That's the only other thing I was going to say. Like, we didn't get a lot of cool gadgets this time around either. That's what we love about the Bond films. They're all the really crazy gadgets. You know, we're not getting the laser watches and all kinds of stuff like that in this. It's not there. And that's half the fun of the Bond movies, is seeing the really cool spy gadgets.
Yeah, I think this is like the rare time we didn't get like a Q. Well, we had a Q scene, but it wasn't really for a gadget. It was just for like explaining this microchip. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I have to disagree. We did get a little bit of a gadget. I would call it the Chekhov's robot cat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we get a little bit of that, which doesn't pay off till the end of the movie as a gag.
It doesn't pay off. It looks like a toy I remember from my childhood. Wasn't there some kind of like Radio Shack dog that looked like that thing?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like the poor version of Doctor Who's K9. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nice,
oh yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
All right, I'll give that to you. Slow clap.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, I got it. When I saw that, I was like, are they trying to make this like a K9 for Bond? You know, like for the Doctor. Like I was like, no way they did it, and they did, and of course they used that as a gag towards the end of the movie. You know, as always. But yeah, I have to agree with Tim. I didn't realize. We see gadgets, but like it's not your usual gadgets from previous movies where like Bond used, like, it's so far Bond is using the gun or his wits getting out of the situation. Like the only kind of gadget we see is in the we'll get into the next session where him and Tappert is like searching for the bug of their room because they know they're like being listened to by the security and all that. That's
he doesn't
like
use his gun. He doesn't use his gun in this one. Other than the shotgun, he doesn't shoot anybody.
No, that's true.
So we don't even see the PPK get pulled out in this one.
Yeah. Weird thing. Matt, what do you thought about this section of the villain, like getting into the plot, and then the end point is the Afro Tower chasing? Go ahead.
You know, this James Bond movie, I think it's a little odd than the other normal James Bond films. So I think this is kind of Roger Moore's, send off. After this, it's Living Daylight, so we get into Roger Daltrey. Not Roger Daltrey. That's the Who. Timothy Dalton. Different Brit. Sorry. But yeah, I agree with Tim. It's like they couldn't get the tone right to the film. They were definitely leaning more into like the campiness. They were trying to make sure that they hit certain beats in the film. And the overall premise of the microchip and then the horse racing, it was neat how it started off. But as we progress through the movie and the story, I feel as though the whole horse thing is a MacGuffin to kind of lead you into something bigger that, the Max Zorin character is trying to do. So it seemed like there was something that was missing, like almost like I would say like a glow that you would get from like some of the earlier James Bond films. It definitely leaned more towards, I would say, a campiness or almost like a Timu Bond film. But yeah, it's a little weird coming off of this.
Yeah.
I
agree with what you guys are saying. I So this is a classic move from like any other franchise. You can feel there's two movies. Like it's weird. There's one plot that feels like another movie, and then you got this other plot that feels like another movie. There's like two plots here that can easily been two different movies for a Bond. Like the race thing could have been this own thing for this whole entire film about like drugging, like the idea of enhancing like an individual or like a creature that could have been an interesting Bond villain plot to go through for like a entire 2 hour. And then the microchip Valley part, which that becomes more dominant in this movie, which makes sense because that was a big talking point during the 80s, right?
Yeah.
It's like just it doesn't come off like it's there, but it's like, wow, why we needed the horse thing to get to the Silicon Valley? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I just felt like there's two halves of like a movie, two different movies into this one movie, and that doesn't seem good, really. I don't know, it's really tough, and the tone. My only explanation is maybe because of Octopussy, because the last movie was so successful, they maybe wanted to carry over that tone, because Octopussy is also a campy, movie, but like it's consistent and it's also amping up the successful movies of Steven Spielberg, like Raiders of the Lost Ark. So it's like amping that. Like, these Bond movies, always traditionally copy the trend that was going on during the movies, like Moonraker was just taking off the space science fiction, popularity that Star Wars did in 1977. So that's why we got Moonraker, yeah. So, and for this, it was just like, okay, we're sticking with the grounded reality of Bond, but then, we're doing this campy, traditional Bond, camp adventure that's been part of more since his like debut, But yeah, I think that's where they struggle quite a bit with this, for me anyway. And Tim is right. One thing I do accuse of Moore's films, they always are formulaic. Like they weren't in the beginning, but when they started, like particularly in Spy Who Loved Me, great film. But after that, they started to like follow a formula, and that's where they start hitting a problem where like if you're still sticking it, you're not like inventing yourself for this new film. It's like you're sticking to the same thing and you're not innovating yourself as a franchise, So that's always a big, it's a tough thing for a franchise to like keep yourself relevant and,
Well, I think when they really reinvented themselves as a franchise is when they brought Pierce Brosnan in.
Yeah.
Because they did almost like a complete I don't want to say a complete reboot, but like a soft reboot in the fact that now you have an action star that's, kind of his face has been all over TV. They know who he is, and they kind of went a little darker. They still left some of the camp in there, but they definitely looked more as an action hero. And I think that's what really helped the franchise really breathe new life into it.
Well, I think Pierce Brosnan brings an air of, I don't want to, dignity's probably not the right word, more like class. He carries himself far more classier than, like, I would say he's more like Roger Moore in the way that he carries himself. As far as being Bond, even in Remington Steele, he just had that suave, classy demeanor that you knew was going to lend well to a Bond character, or the Bond character.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Brosnan he's like this melding pot of like the Sean Connery and the Moore. Like that's what people wanted. Like we want like a darker Bond, but like still have the fun of it, and that's what I think Brosnan had. Because the next predecessor after Moore is Dalton, and like Dalton goes to the extreme, like 180 of like dark and like dead serious. Like he's not like what you typically know about Bond. He doesn't do the quips. He's not comfortable with wearing like the tuxedos. He's more like in casual clothes that he feels comfortable with, especially in License to Kill.
Isn't that closer to how the books are, though? I believe I've never read one of them, but I think I've heard they said his portrayal is much closer to the book.
Yes, it's more closer to the book, and but I know that some critics and the fan base at that time is like, because it was such a like a jarring change.
Departure.
Yeah, departure. Because because we're coming out for more, and it's like whoa, where what made GoldenEye so successful is that they didn't did this like departure or like it was like balanced so correctly, like as Matt said for we had the dark and like serious Bond like very good, but then we still had the camp fun of Bond, but like it didn't go to extreme measures like some of the other ones did. It was more tame. So it's always tough, for those kind of Bond films. That's why GoldenEye is so good, and plus the story was new. The story was fresh. It was like it hit a topic that was relevant during that. I mean, past relevant. Maybe let me say that because the Cold War was like kind of done after the 80s, but like the fact that they did touch that on GoldenEye was like wow. They stressed that on because I was kind of surprised that. Well, I mean, Octopus he did address the Russians in that movie, but it was totally different and like it was for a different plot. But yeah, I kind of agree because like this part of the movie from this beginning to the horse, this is my favorite part of the movie because when we get introduced to Roberts and like the Silicon Valley thing, that's where I don't like the film. Is where I'm like, this is my least favorite of the part of this film. And we'll get into that. So like after Bond and uh, Godfrey traveled to Soren's estate. By the way, the estate looks very huge. I want to live there. For the horse sale, Bond is puzzled by a woman who rebuffs him, which that was Mayday, dude. Like how you not recognize her? I totally forgot he didn't see her face fully because she was disguised. But so he discovers Soren with a lady during the party with a check of 5 million, and then after that party's done, him and Godfrey at that night infiltrate the Soren's laboratory where they see the adrenaline drug releasing devices in the horses, and then of course they get into a fight, and then they try to escape, which they did, but then after the morning, Soren knows that someone had infiltrated the laboratory. Soren invites James and identifies his his identity as a secret agent. And then here we get Mayday assassinating Godfrey in the car wash. By the way, that scene was really brutal and like really cool, like a really cool assassination scene. I don't like assassination, but I thought this like the way they took off this this guy was like wow, really well directed. I have to say, because like you see some of the hitch woman that works for Mayday, and like at first it's like what they're doing. They're like looking around and they're like watching out because their boss was going to kill him in the car, which is very neat thing. So yeah, after that, and then there are attempts to have after the assassination, of course Soren plays up Bond, with a horse race, and then here, he's trying to like kill Bond during this horse with these trick, I don't know, attractants, and then mistakenly, Bond goes into the car that Godfrey drove, but it's Mayday that's driving that car, and then he gets captured, and presumably dead when Mayday throws the car in the lake. By the way, she's so strong. I can't believe she's able to push a car. She was able to lift a bomb. Towards the end of the movie, I'm like, Jesus, like she's.
I thought they were going to go with some kind of weird genetic enhancement with the horse lab thing or something. That's where I originally thought they were going. I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good plot, and then they kind of changed it completely.
Yeah, it's just for the horses, and I'm like, because one of the scientists say later on in the film we get information from the scientist that's like the father figure for Max Zorin, that he has experimented on people with enhanced drugs, and I was like, okay, well, why you didn't use that? That could be cool. But yeah, so then after that we got General Ghoulie. That's the KGB. It's like he is like the KGB version of M. And he's been in a couple of Roger Moore films since The Spy Who Loved Me. He first appeared in Spy Who Loved Me. And then he popped up again for Your Eyes Only in that film. And I think also Octopussy. And so this is like the last time, or no, next movie, The Living Daylights, is the last time we see this character, the KGB version of M. He confronts Zorin for trying to kill Bond without permission, and revealing that Zorin was initially trained and financed by the KGB. That's interesting, but this twist reveal that he's gone rogue. That makes a lot of sense. But then later, after that scene, we get Zorin unveils to the group of investors about his plan to destroy the Silicon Valley. So this is where we get the main plot here with Zorin, that he wants to destroy the Silicon Valley, and give him the potential of him and his investors to monopolize over the microchip manufacturing. Okay, and this had one of my favorite like villain killing a person, and the one guy is like, I don't want to be any part of this, and he's like, look, we'll discuss it, like out there, then yada yada yada. Mayday takes him out, and he drops, to death in the air, and then the punchline, like Christopher Walken is great. He's like, anyone want to drop out?
It's such a Schwarzenegger line, man. You can totally hear Schwarzenegger. Anybody wants someone to drop out? I don't do Schwarzenegger well, but you can totally hear it's like a Schwarzenegger line. There was two or three of them in here that were like that.
Oh my god, yes. It was like when Bond says something that's so like sexual, like it was such a sexual innuendo. I was like, oh my god, like especially when Roberts was like sitting on the Bond. He's like, I don't want to think about whatever he said. That was like very very funny and innuendo. But anyway, so let me stop here. Let me Tim. Let me go to Matt. When you talk about this section of the movie where we're getting into the horse now plot of like the drugs, the end point is like understanding now Zorin's big plan about taking over the microchip manufacturing over the Silicon Valley. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is interesting. I like how we are introduced to the Max Zorin character, and we get to see his estate, which is in France. It's actually it's called the Chateau de Chantilly, and it's similar to the Palace of Versailles, but it's far larger, and it's actually kind of neat because the designer of the chateau is the same person that designed the grounds to Versailles. So you see a lot of similarities between the two as you watch the movie. And so I thought that was kind of neat, the way that they're using the surroundings. I mean, obviously France is a big central role for the first half of this film. And I thought it was neat that they kind of used some of the iconic locations and such. However, the whole plot point where we learn that they're using microchips injected into a horse to inject adrenaline into its bloodstream so that it would race faster. It was a neat plot point. It was a neat way of kind of introducing the whole idea that, there's this doctor who was from World War II and he was doing experiments. So that kind of made a neat little premise where had they just stuck with something like that through the entire movie, I think would have made a really cool storyline. But then when they kind of segued from that and said, okay, well, now that Max Zorin is doing this to horses, he wants to have the upper hand in the microchip industry. So he's now going to wipe out Silicon Valley. At that point, I'm like, well, why wouldn't he just he has the funding from the Russian government. Why doesn't he just go in there and just buy up all these little, Silicon Valley businesses? It would just make more sense than having to go through and wipe out the whole freaking place. So that's kind of at that point the story kind of peels off for me. It's a little hard to, I would say it's almost convoluted storyline through this movie. But for the most part, though, I do like the idea of the genetic manipulation. Almost like a eugenics war happening within high society, and I thought that was a clever look at Max Zorin.
Yeah. No, they could have done something like it could have easily created a super soldier for the Russians,
right?
Because I mean,
or a universal soldier. I mean, Dolph Lundgren was right there.
Yeah, and I mean, he was the Punisher. I mean, you could have easily made him into I mean, the most strongest and professional, mercenary ever with drugs.
Right. Or a really powerful boxer.
Yes, that's true. And it's crazy. Rocky Four actually delivered its plot of like enhancing the individual, and this is the danger of using it, which is crazy. Tim,
And he's a chemist. Don't forget that he's an actual legitimate. He has like I think either master's or PhD in chemistry. So there's a bad scientist just waiting to break out.
There you go.
Oh my god, I don't know if you guys seen the Expendables. I appreciate they always bring up that he has degrees, and then one of the movies, I think in number 2, he talked about the explosion. It's like, okay, you do this. This is how it's gonna explode. Like I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they went there for Dolph.
He lays out the whole chemistry formula for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny because I what was it? I think the Master Universe doc or some YouTube doc mentioned like he had these degrees. I was like, really? He's really smart and that's good.
Yeah, he's a graduate from MIT. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean,
and the one last thing I just wanted to, I love this about 80s movies and a lot of movies made prior to like CGI manipulation of film, but you have a sequence where a body is falling from a large height, and you can clearly tell that at some point they just dropped a crash test dummy off of something, and the one action film franchise that I know is probably the funniest to see that is all the Charles Brosnan Death Wish movies.
Oh my god, yes.
Watch anything with Charles Brosnan, you could tell that they swapped out bodies, they swapped out, live actors for dummies, for watermelons, for anything. It's hilarious, and you get a little bit of that in Bond here.
It just makes me think of Mythbusters all the time, where they're dropping Buster. It's that same thing. He's just that dead weight just flying down like that.
Yeah, no. That dummy just takes me back when we did the Naked Gun, where Khan like had Lucia and then it turns into the dummy. It's like, oh my god!
Wait, not Ricardo Montalban, but Khan.
Khan, yes.
Khan. My dad went that way.
Yes, I had to do it because I just know him as Khan. He's a great actor. Ricardo Montalban is an amazing actor, but he's always going to be Khan for me. And it's like, oh my god, he's a fantastic villain. And I'm surprised. I know we're just wrapping up, but I'm surprised he hasn't been a Bond villain. Like he could have been a great Bond villain this time.
Well, we talked about that, because before he was a Naked Gun, he was Mr. Rourke. He was this lovable guy, that made all your fantasies come true and stuff. He didn't really embrace being a villain till the Naked Gun, and we talked about that at length in our podcast. And it was like, man, did they miss out? He should have done that a few more times. It's like Tom Cruise. You really only see him play 2 bad really roles, where Collateral being one of them, where he's just a super villain, and he does it well. But we only get probably that, and him as the vampire Lestat, and then that's it. Then we never really get to see him again as a vampire or as a vampire, as a villain.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying too. Yeah, it's a fortune. I mean, I get it why, because I don't know if it's because of the Gary Oldman thing, where like he went, because like Gary Oldman was so good playing a bad guy, he got typecast. It was really until like Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter, the 3rd film, and Batman Begins, it turned him around to be playing more good guy roles. But I mean, he still played some villain roles, but like it wasn't as much like he did in the 90s. I don't know. It was that like I don't know. It's the actors afraid of being typecast as a villain. It's also like if they're interested in doing that, because sometimes like maybe these one like like the RoboCop actors, they were happy to play the villains because they were playing good guys at that point. So it was like relief to play like a douchey, evil bad guy at that point. And
hey, folks, if you want to hear our in-depth conversation with Andreas and Cyber on Ricardo Montalban, check out our episode of Middle Age Movie Reviews, episode 62, The Naked Gun, aka The Rise of Enrico Palazzo.
Yes, please watch it. It was an awesome discussion. went wild in my dream. Okay, Tim, what's your thoughts on this section of like the whole horse investigation up to like Soren's like actual master plan of like destroying the Silicon Valley? Go ahead.
So I think there's a couple interesting things. I'm going to have to eat my words. I forgot we do get one James Bond gadget because apparently James Bond is the first credit skimmer with his checks with his check skimmer gadget, where he's able to put over check and like reproduce the check completely by just doing a little swipe there. So so James Bond first credit skimmer ever, right there.
Yeah.
So we get to learn that a $5 million check's been written to this woman, and he goes out, tries to flirt with her, and she ain't having none of it. Which you're like, oh, look at that, James getting shot down there by a good-looking woman. That's kind of a first, I guess.
Well,
Yeah,
Tim, since you pointed that out, I just want to comment real quick. Don't forget he's wearing those very 1980s retro looking sunglasses that has a magnifying on adjuster on them. So
right. Yeah, I forgot about
two
those
things in that same scene.
But I don't know if those are a James Bond gadget or if that's just something he borrowed from Sir Elton John. Because those are some pretty big freaking glasses, even for the 80s, man. So, he might have been, all the sirs might have been hanging out somewhere. He's like, hey, got a Bond movie come up. Can I borrow those glasses? And he's like, oh, yeah, here you go. So.
Well, that, he's older. So it's actually, he got them from his eye doctor. And okay, is this better or worse? Better? One or two? One or two?
Roger, you got to take them things off, man. They're just, the lights are just beaming off them when we're trying to film this thing. You got to stop, man. Too much reflection.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I forgot about those two. So yeah, we stand corrected with two. One fairly awesome, one not so awesome spy gadget.
Spy gadget. Yeah.
What you were saying, Tim, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. Well, and then Matt's right. I mean, this is it's a MacGuffin thing. I don't know why they just didn't keep going with the whole like serum thing. Like maybe they're going to test something out with the horses to prove that the horses can like go super fast and stuff. And then we get that scene with Mayday where this little bitty tiny woman's picking up these giant KGB agents. So I'm like, okay, they're going to build some kind of super army or something. That would have made more sense. But then they just abandoned this. It's almost like they decided to just grab a couple old plot points off the writing room floor from previous James Bond, episodes. Are like, here's what we got left. We're going to put up on the board. We're just going to take a string and we're going to, go from one bad idea to the next one that we've had in the past. And then we're just going to write a film based on this. Yeah. Whatever it is, these are your plot points. You have to make a film out of this. So, and it ends up feeling like two different films, in the end, I think.
They made a murder board on a dead.
Yes. It's like a dead black murder board. There you go. Yeah. It's a little like from, Dusk Till Dawn, where you feel like you're watching two separate movies, and that we're about halfway through. It's like, oh, we're in an entirely new movie here. Yeah. So it just felt weird that whole thing goes nowhere. It really just has nothing to do but to set James Bond up so that he can meet Max Zorin. That's really all that does, and it seems far too elaborate. I feel like they could have found a much easier way to get those two in the same room together. But then when they get on, to the blimp and he's revealing his ultimate plan, I was like, okay, this is a pretty cool plan. Like flooding the Earth's platelets so that it'll have an earthquake and cause a flood and wipe out basically all of Silicon Valley. I'm like, this is a cool premise. Like it was pretty well thought out, which is much better than the original one where they wanted Zorin was originally going to crash Halley's Comet into Silicon Valley, and they were like, no, nobody's ever gonna believe this. We can't do that. So we gotta do this flood thing, which, if you think about it, it's a pretty ingenious plan. It requires a lot of maneuvering of things, which he does, and they explain it well. So you're like, yeah, I can believe this. It's a cool plot. Again, it just feels like they kind of turned the page to a new book or something, but I enjoyed the idea of what they're going to do. I thought it was a cool idea. So I'm like, I'm just going to go with it because what the hell, this movie feels a little off center anyway. So sure, what the hell, why not?
Yeah. No, it's funny you brought up the comment. I was going to read that as like a funny trivia because initially the script by Richard Bambon, the OG writer that they usually use for the movies, up to License to Kill actually, and his initial script was like having Soren like apparently manipulate Haley's comet into crashing into the Silicon Valley. But then one of the producers, I guess the grandson, Michael G. Wilson, rejected that. He wanted something that was like more realistic of a plot. I was like, I don't know. I think you could maybe pull it off. Like you could have done something like Dinosaur Forever, where like Soren created this like laser satellite and like it pulled up like it's it sounds more like an Austin Powers
freaking Death Ray.
So you can't use Haley's comet because everybody knows if you have the comet come by, then it's going to turn everybody into red dust zombies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Life Force or something like that.
Do you know the movie? You know what you want to talk about, Andreas?
No.
Night of the Comet. It's like the greatest 80s B movie ever. Night of the Comet.
Okay.
Hey, the last time the comet came by was when the dinosaurs were here, and then they died.
Oh my
and
God.
if you folks want to hear more about Tim's in-depth analysis of Night of the Comet, check out our next episode on Middle Age Movie Reviews, where we talk about Quiet Earth.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God.
Sorry, I am dropping plugs left and right.
Yeah.
No. Hey,
Matt is a middle-aged whore.
I think his new name should be Mr. Plug. Mr. Plug. He's plugging
all right.
It's awesome.
Everybody should come over because Andres, you're on a lot of our podcasts, so people should come over and check it out.
Yeah, exactly. You guys need to check out their stuff. They're so funny. It just goes like one of the funnest movie discussions I ever have with you guys, and it's just, oh my God, so joyful, and like it's great to learn things that I never learned, and some of that I was like, oh yeah, I never expect that, and I always
that's what happens when you youngins hang out with us old farts. You learn things.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna drop a big one tonight because the San Andreas Faults. I can't believe not only we have a Batman connection, we also have a Superman connection here.
There you go. I know you're going with this.
Yes, so let's get into it now because after Bond, after we get the master plan. By the way, Soren is definitely a Lex Luthor. I find this like kind of convenient. This is literally a Lex Luthor plot.
Not just Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor from 1978.
Yes, exactly. And I did not expect I don't know if they were inspired by the 78 Richard Donner film, but it's kind of crazy. But we'll get into when Bond discovers with Robert's character about this villain plot, why he's because at first I was like, why he wants to flood the City Valley, and then it makes a ton of sense, But anyway, so Bond travels to San Francisco. He meets up with a CIA agent, Chuck Lee. Funny about this character, this was supposed to be Felix Leiter, a recurring Bond supporting character we know from the books, and the reason we didn't get him here, actually next time we're going to see him is actually in the next film after this movie, Living Deadlights. It's because I think the Chinese market was getting bigger at this point. You see some films that during this time we were exploiting it, Big Trouble in Little China and Golden Eye. So especially because they were in San Francisco, right? They thought, okay, let's make this a original character. So this is another tidbit that was kind of interesting here. But anyway, so this agent says that Soren is the product of a medical experiment with steroids performed by this Dr. Cole, a Nazi scientist who is now Soren's Federation / racehorse breeding consultant, which we see him before during the film, briefly. Bond met him, and the last time we saw him was during the lab raid that Bond and his associate did. Then after that, Bond then investigate a nearby oil rig owned by Soren, but then he finds a former KGB agent, Pola, that he had a romantic time before. So she recorded a conversation and her partner placing explosives on the rig, because she is partnered with her partner gets caught and killed, very brutal death as usual. Sorry, this is my place there. And then the KGB agent, the female one, escapes with Bond. They have their romantic, seduction as usual, what Bond he does with these women. And we got this funny thing where she thinks she has the recording, but Bond switches the tapes, and like he takes down the notes of like what was going on, and then after that, Bond tracks down, and say like he goes to like one of the like state oil mine offices, and then doing like an interview with him, learning more about like what was going on with Soren's like mine thing, and then there he meets again the girl from the party, of course, the state geologist, Stacy. Her name is weird. Her last one, Sutton, the woman that Soren attempted to pay off, and and discovers that Soren is trying to buy her family oil business. So the two travel to the San Francisco City Hall, where they trying to check Soren's like submitted plans and permits and all that, but they've been alerted to their presence because Soren is there with Mayday, and they killed the chief boss. That was Stacy, and they set up the fire of the City Hall. Pretty cool action stuff here. This part is really good. At least the double here works better here because the fire and all that, the commotion is like really intense. Where again, another major play is like he frames Bond for a murder and kill him, right? And it doesn't go nowhere. So like why did you went that far to kill the guy and try to frame Bond? It's always that weird thing with villains, like, oh, I'm gonna set you up, and it's like they're gonna clear their name right away, and oh my god, the cop here was so annoying. It's just like Sergeant Pepper. I don't know, you guys remember Sergeant Pepper in the early Moore movies?
Oh, he's on the Lonely Club's Heart Band. Sorry.
Yeah, he's that like very stereotypical South, like I don't know what you like, South Carolina cop. He's like, God damn it,
yeah, he's like chewing on a cigar. He's got tobacco in his mouth. Yeah, he shows up in is it the Man with the Golden Gun?
Yes. Yeah, that was his last time he popped up because he was in Live and Let Die, and then he came back from there. And this like random cop that has the mustache is like totally that. See, next time just get Sergeant Pepper. I don't think we need that cop because he was so dumb. It's like, and then you know what he did? He scored his comps. It's like you're getting paid this car damage, okay, from your salary. I'm like, what kind of? You're not a sergeant or something like that. And then I was happy his car got destroyed.
He was a captain, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. He had the 2 bars on his lapel, so that makes him a captain.
Well, he was a very weak captain, I have to say.
That's because it's not like, oh, Foley, what's wrong with you, Foley? Why are you doing this? Did you do it to me and make me drink all this pizza? You didn't have him like doing that the whole time, so
no, no, he did not. So after they escape from the police from a really cool like fire agent, like the fire truck, that was really cool. At least that was like really worked well, and the double was like fine there. So after that,
it wasn't a double.
No, it was Moore, right? Yeah,
Moore had to drive the truck because the double was too short and couldn't reach the pedals. So they let him drive the fire truck. And I guess before Roger Moore was actually a movie star, he used to drive semi-trucks around. So the Teamsters were like, he actually did a really good job driving this thing around because he knew what he was
doing. Had to do it. Yeah. So because
that's why it looks so good. It's actually him. What?
In England, they're called lorries.
I was going to say lorry, but I didn't want to sound pretentious.
Yeah. I was because I knew it was lorry or something like that, but no. Over here, we say whatever we say, and then lorries over there, UK. But yeah, because that was a good action scene. I actually really like that. That's like the highlight for me for the film. Like the fire thing for the Sea Hall is really incredible. And them escaping, it's like because. Like I don't want to say this movie is boring, but like some parts is too draggy, and like when we get an action scene, it's really refreshing sometimes. And I thought this was a good engineering part because from there it's like you just have a lot of talking scenes about the plot and investigation, and sometimes it's kind of boring. It's not as boring as like modern day films are. So I'll give it that. But anyway, so just wrapping up. So they infiltrate Soren's mine here, and when this is where I was like, man, they're really copying Superman. the 1978 film by Richard Donner, starring the late great Christopher Lee, and as Matt said before, I was like, God damn it, Christopher Walken is Lex Luthor, but not the Lex Luthor, J. Hackman's Lex Luthor, as he say, Matt, as you say before. I was like, oh my God. So they discover the full plan is like he's trying to plot to like detonate a huge explosion beneath the lakes, along with the Hayward and St. Andreas Faults. If everyone knows what's St. Andreas Faults, in Superman the movie, Christopher Reeve, who is awesome, one of the best Supermans, explained this so perfectly. Apparently, the St. Andreas Faults is this really dangerous like line between California and like if anything happens to it, it can cause like a really big eruption or earthquake. And so Zorin is trying to do that by like exploding enough dynamite underneath it instead of upward, because Lex, where he did it because he wanted to like shot a rocket where it, I guess, exploded directly to San Andreas. Here, Zorin wants to like flood it and then like cause like I guess a rift or like a flood to the Silicon Valley. So after that, he was get. They realized they also bring a larger bomb in the bind to destroy like the geologic lock that prevents the two faults from moving simultaneously. So once in place, but Zorin and his like main like henchman security flood the mine and kill the workers. By the way, this is understanding. It's very like this is where Zorin is really crazy. He's a very psychopath, which I agreed. And this scene was so brutal, like seeing them getting killed, and like one guy was trying to stupidly was trying to hold like one of those like electric pipelines, and then it got to getting electrocuted. So, which was brutal. So really crazy scene, and then Stacy escapes while like Bond fights Maid after this flooding was happening. But then she realized after Zorin abandons her, she helps Bond to remove the larger bomb, putting the device onto the handcart, and then running out of the mine where it explodes and which simultaneously kills her. So let me stop there. And Tim, are you right? Is everything
Yeah,
okay?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's just your picture was like going on and off, but you're good. Let me go to you, Tim. What do you thought about this section? More Bond meeting up with Stacy, and then them discovering the whole mine up to the end points where Mayday gets killed by the explosion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, starting with the whole scene at the like the city hall or whatever. This is probably the only moment where we definitely get Zorin kind of being the typical Bond villain. He's explaining what's about to happen to everybody, and there's about it's basically like, there's about to be an accident. It's going to be you. There's going to be a break-in. You're going to unfortunately die. They're going to find this gun. So he lays it all out like the typical Bond villain, or again another Batman villain where they have to reveal the entire plot of what's about to happen. So I thought, okay, that tracks. But then he shoots this guy, tosses, Roger Moore's or Bond's gun onto the desk, and then pushes him in the elevator, and then proceeds to set an entire elevator shaft on fire with one bottle of Smirnoff vodka. Now, it was the most ridiculous thing ever, because I watched it with my wife, and she's like, yeah, I'm like, that's impossible, because you're watching it and it's the whole shaft's on fire and it's overheating the cable and you're starting to see it snap. She goes, well, steel breaks, when it gets overheated. I'm like, yeah, but it's one bottle of vodka. It's going to burn off in like 20 seconds. The entire elevator shaft is steel and cement and it's metal cable. And those cables have to burn a long time for that to happen. So it was just so utterly ridiculous. You could tell they've smeared, something all over these cables and walls to get them to burn like that. And so in the meantime, now you've got, basically Stacy's just crying like, James, help me on. He's like, Bond's all business. He's just doing his thing and hopping back and forth, trying to find his way out of there and stuff. And he's like, hang on, he's like trying to help her. And she's just screaming the whole time, James. So it's like, shut up. I just want to be like, just shut up. Let me get us out of here. Wait for that to happen, but he doesn't do it. Yeah. And then he risks, and then for whatever reason, like I think they tried to make it look like she passed out, but yet you can clearly see her eyes are open when he's carrying her down like a fireman, down that ladder, which I seems to be firemen would have came up to meet them and they would have carried her down. So that's already like just kind of weird. And they get to the bottom, and what happens while the fire's going on? The police chief walks right in the building with the fireman, goes straight to that guy's office because apparently he knows exactly which office he's in, finds the gun, doesn't worry about anything else, picks up the gun and brings it out. And is like, hey, I found this gun. Is it yours? Like, yeah, well, you're under arrest. It was such a stupid setup. It was just so freaking stupid. The whole thing's ridiculous. I mean, other than the classic, Bond villain reveal, every part of this I thought was ridiculous. And then they get onto the fire truck, which was an interesting scene. You don't get to see ladder trucks, whipping through the city very often like that. So that had its moments in there. I thought that was okay, but yeah, it just the scene is rough, as far as I'm concerned. And then we get to them getting to the mine, and the only thing I'll say is when they get to the spot where they're getting ready to blow that thing up and they show it, I cannot believe how many bags of ammo are down there. I mean, that's not just enough bags of ammo to blow the river apart, but probably blow all the way to the core of the earth. I mean, that is a lot of ammo. I can't imagine anybody could have ordered that much ammo and not have somebody be like, this seems like an excessive amount, even for blowing up. Plus, I don't know if you're necessarily going to use ammo to blow up a mine. I think you tend to use dynamite stuff, although I don't know. Maybe they do use ammo. But, when it's in bags like that, that means you have to, pour it into something. So, I don't know. It was a ridiculous amount of overkill, which visually was stunning. I was just like, and I'm watching them bring that little kind of detonator down there, and they're just gently put it on there like, oh, no way. There's no way of getting down there with a detonator in that thing. And he sets it for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And then Christopher, basically Max Zorin proceeds to be like, got 35 minutes to kill before, this entire part of California blows to hell. Let's shoot everybody to death and flood the caverns while we're at it. It was way over the top campy. And that part was super fun as far as I was concerned. He's just sitting up there just laying waste to everybody. Him and his one other henchman, they're just laying waste to everybody else. It's just, he's laughing the whole time. Sends his 3 assassin women down there and just, they don't even know it, but they're about to die and stuff. That part was a lot of fun. So it kind of made up for the whole City Hall part for me.
No, I understand. The one part when he's doing the massacre, when he kicks the guy from the cliff, it was, and then he starts laughing and shoots at them. I'm like, what the hell? What I thought we were in a Death Wish movie now. I was like, what? I don't know. That scene was just so crazy over top. And especially a character like him. I never thought him being, I guess in the film, they'd say he's, psychotic and crazy. So, you're seeing, he is crazy and he's taking a lot of risks doing this, while, being smart about it, right? And I do agree that so at least they're trying to be consistent about that, right? And then the Bonds things, why you need all those, detonation? Why you just get a bigger, atomic bomb or something like that, just one particular bomb and explode the whole thing, right? I don't know. That is funny. When I saw the whole box, I was like, whoa, all that, and it's not even TNT. It's from his company too. You see the logo of his company in those.
Was it Zorin Amphil? Okay, if his logo was on it, that's how I got away with it. Because otherwise, there's no way anybody can order that much ammo and not raise somebody's awareness that this don't seem right.
No. I seen this scene before, and this second watch, and I was paying attention to it. I was like, oh yeah, it's from his company, so that makes sense. Matt, your thoughts on this section of the movie of Bond working with Stacy, learning more about Zorin's plot, and then the endpoints, the mine massacre, and Mayday getting killed by, the explosion. Go ahead.
Well, like I said before, I feel like this is the point where the story kind of turns. We get away from the whole genetic thing. We go into this land grab, much like Gene Hackman in Superman. But I do want to point out 2 things. First off, Tim, it was not vodka in that bottle. It was actually Ron Bacardi's Superior Light Dry Rum bottle full of gasoline.
You had a lot of time to really like check that bottle out, huh?
Well, I'm staring at the freezer. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was a bottle of rum because I'm like, hey, he's using Bacardi Silver.
Okay, was it Smirnoff vodka at the beginning then, like in the submarine?
It might have been. Yeah,
Maybe
I
think that's where I got the Smirnoff bottle from. Then.
Yeah, because Bond shows up with caviar and rum.
Yeah.
That's right, or vodka. Okay, so I stand corrected, but at least I
Yeah.
wasn't so far off the reservation. It wasn't somewhere in the movie. I just got it mixed up.
And then the other thing that I thought was funny when Bond shows up at Stacy's home, and he breaks in, and she basically confronts him with her shotgun, and then he saves her by using the shotgun against Zorin's men. And as he's shooting the guys, they're not dying. And I thought it was hilarious that we find out that she's got all of her shells loaded with rock salt.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help but think, shoot, she must be related to the Clampetts, because only Granny Clampett was the person that I knew that would load the shotgun up with rock salt.
Yeah, but I'm telling you what, even at that, even with rock salt, those guys should have been hurting a lot more. I mean, it wouldn't have killed them, but that stuff burns. I mean, they're just shooting pure salt into wounds, and those guys, I mean, they're getting knocked down and stuff, but they're sure not acting like they're wounds full of salt. I'd be crying like a little girl.
Yeah. And I think another thing that I do like about the whole fire truck sequence is you kind of get the craziness of a James Bond film, where they're gonna take that fire truck and they're gonna jump the fire truck across the bridge. Now, mind you only get to see the truck before it jumps and as it lands, very Dukes of Hazzard like with the car landing. But yeah, I thought that was kind of neat. Very very much like a classic 80s or 90s action film, actually 70s action film. And then I had a lot of Seinfeld feeling when I was watching Roger Moore on the back end of that elevator.
Yes.
Or the ladder truck, because I'm thinking this is very much like Kramer driving the ladder truck in that episode of Seinfeld.
Yes. It was the one where he's trying to convince the fire truck people to go to this other shortcut.
Yes.
And then it ended up like not working. And yeah, I remember that episode. Yeah, it's so funny.
But yeah, as far as the actual story goes, it's it's your typical James Bond thing. It's got some action to it. It's helping to develop the plot. It seems very grandiose with all that explosives down inside the cave or the mine. I can't help but feel sorry for the mine workers. You get hired on to do a job, and next thing you know, the guy that signs your paychecks is executing you. Yeah.
Come on, Matthew. They've proved this in Clerks. It's like the Death Star. Those guys knew what they were signing on for.
Yeah.
And then
or the ones from Spaceballs too. They knew what they were signing up for.
Right. And I guess the other thing that I don't quite have a pill that's kind of hard for me to swallow is Mayday's heel turn, where she suddenly decides that, oh, hey, you know what? I'm gonna help out James Bond. I'm like, well, we start off in the movie, we think that she's Zorin's like right hand, for lack of a better term, woman. It feels as though she's gone through the same genetic process that Max did, but yet at the end she suddenly switches sides to help out James. It felt a little forced to me there. And then of course the last thing that I just think is just completely convoluted and hilarious is when, and I think I might be getting ahead of us here, but when Zorin shows up in his airship and he comes down and he grabs Stacy from the ground, and I'm like, how fast is this little like blimp going? I mean, it looks like it's not going very fast. I'm pretty sure she could outrun it.
Not to mention, I think you should be able to hear those things, the little air propellers, It cannot be that quiet.
No, it had like a turbo like thing, and it's like, how do you not hear that? Yeah, it is true. Yeah. You brought up the Mayday turn. I didn't mind that. I thought it worked because first of all, like she was, because I like it's very simple. It's not like overdoing the turn because like we don't know too much about her, and I think having those two ladies made a lot of sense for her to like turn against Soren because
Okay.
like because in the film you thought that he liked her, like he kissed her at one point. They laughed when she got escaped from the Avatar. You thought that they had like a those typical like villain like woman like Batman 66 kind of like relationship where like she's into him and like she thinks that into her, but then realizing that no, he's just a douchebag that just takes advantage of people. And as you were talking about the man, he didn't care about the man and he didn't care about her. So it made sense. Like I thought that term made like realistic sense there. And it's the only good part I like from that part of that scene.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
would you say that this movie would play better if, say, it had Lee Merriweather and Adam West in the main roles? Then is that what you're going for here?
Uh, yeah. I mean, I think Tim is so right. It's definitely a Batman episode, and like even a Superman episode too. If you have to be honest, there. Oh my God! Imagine Adam West and Roger Moore. They imagine 2 hours of them just like doing puns, and the self awareness is gonna be top tier. Oh my God, we missed out something here,
Yeah.
folks.
And
Um,
there's one other thing I wanted to point out too. So we've been bringing it up, Superman 1978,
yes.
numerous times so far, especially talking about Max and his parallels to Lex Luthor. But did you know that our good director John Glenn was actually the assistant director to the 1978 Superman? So
I heard of that, but I never got confirmation about it yet. Okay.
yeah, he was the second unit director. So and we'll get to it. I don't want to step on your toes here, but when we get to the scenes where they're on the Golden Gate Bridge, they use the same thing they used in Superman with the rear projection. So
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
thinking that that's probably where John Glenn got his ideas for that whole sequence and how to produce that part of the movie was being second unit on Superman. So
Yeah. No, no, because there is one of the scenes in '78. There was like a San Francisco bridge action scene where Superman had to like rescue a school bus and like pull it back before it dropped in the water. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is really cool. Yeah, because I actually like the way he shot the bridge action scene where we're gonna go now because it's really spectacular. It's very seamless, I gotta say. So let's get into the final part of this movie and say our dues to Roger Moore. I so the escaping with the airship, this meaty like blimp. So Zorin takes with his hitchman and then the Nazi scientist. And then here, as we were discussing briefly, like apparently quietly abducts Stacy while Bond grabs hold of the airship rope, and then Zorin is trying to like knock him off. Um, and here you see like some of the civilians and citizens will seeing the blimp, and see you saw the cup again from the chasing from the City Hall comeback, which was great. I like that his car got smashed again. No offense. So yeah, so then after that, Bond like how you say like he ties up the airship with the rope in the Golden Gate Bridge. Like Stacy is trying to save Bond by like attacking Soren to save him, and then the ship kind of knocks out. Just reading my notes here. Sorry. Yeah. Oh yeah. So after that, so like both the henchman and the doctor are temporarily knocked out, and then Stacy flees out from the blimp, joins Bond out on the bridge. Soren follows them out with the axe, which is crazy. And then this certain fight between Soren and Bond culminates with Soren falling to his death in a very Joker way. Like he first starts laughing and then he drops down to his death. We see another, dummy going down to the river. Then the stupid scientist here did something so stupid. Like he's trying to kill Bond with a dynamite. Like it was funny. He has like a bunch of dynamites there, and he had this one big one. I'm like, what? They were ready to like really blow up something, right? But then of course Bond cuts the airship rope free, which causes like a rift. where it causes the scientists to drop dynamite in the cabin, which explodes the blip with him and the other gentleman, the other hitchman. And then later on, the KGB uh, I say M wants to award Bond with like the Order Medal or something like that for fooling Soren's scheme. But as typical Moore endings, this is typical for Moore's endings. Like they're trying to find him or try to communicate with him. Have you seen like the most funniest one? Like the funniest one is the Moonraker one. I don't know if you remember that, but like they were trying to contact him in the spaceship, and they see him making love with the scientist, and in Zero Gravity was like, oh my god, that's the peak Bond. My favorite is, of course, from your For Your Eyes Only, when a parrot is talking to presumably Margaret, the prime minister at that point of the 80s of the Britain. This fake ass Margaret Thatcher in that film. Here you get Bond making love with Stacy, and Q is using his version of K9, and that's where we end the film. And I was like, oh wow, that's how we end. But we end on a high note with we hear again the Duran Duran song, and that's the end of the film. That's, man, crazy. So let me get back to you, Matt. What do you thought about this finale? Was it a good finale? Is it decent? Go ahead.
It was decent. It had a few illogical moments. When they're fighting on top of the tension wire for the Golden Gate Bridge. I do like how they did a lot of it from like underneath kind of shot, so you can kind of tell that they're doing it on a set, maybe in Pinewood Studios, to where you can tell that they're not really high up on the on top of the Golden Gate Bridge. But I thought it was an interesting little fight sequence, and I can't help but think that doctor is very much a cartoon character. I mean, he has a monocle, the monocle.
Monocle. He goes to grab that thing, put it back in his eye. I'm like, really?
Yeah. He's got the
Don't get him, Mr. Peanut.
He's got an unusually large size of dynamite, like you had said, to the point where I'm thinking, okay, so he's like a cross between the Monopoly guy and Wile E. Coyote, and he winds up blowing up himself and the other henchman, which I want to say his name was like Scarlini or whatever.
Yeah.
And we haven't mentioned much about Scarlini, but I thought it was hilarious that his name is Scarlini and he has a scar on his cheek. Can you be very any more
under the nose?
Yeah. So, but I think the ending was needed. It's an ending. I'll give you that much. We had this whole setup that he wants to blow up the fault, and he doesn't, and now he's got to figure out a way to get revenge on Bond. He takes the girl. I don't know. I think that James Bond holding on to that mooring line for probably would have been like an hour jaunt on a blimp. He's got some serious upper body strength, because I know my arms would be tired after only 5 minutes, maybe after only 2 minutes.
Yeah, that was like, imagine if Jack Torrance was there and like he was able to lift that up. With that axe, I was like, those axes are very heavy. I'm like surprised he was holding it in one like hand. It's like that totally went over my head. I was like, wait a minute, those are heavy axes, right? Like,
kind of, yeah. The fire axe is a little heavy.
Yeah,
I mean, they gotta be able to break through a door and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, is there like, because I know there's we have different like fire what do you call it? The fire extinguishers in our homes and offices. They're different types because of how many, like, I don't know, like if that particular axe was like just a different type because you're in air. You're not like,
an axe is an axe. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. So it was weird.
It's a special air axe. It's extra light, so you can throw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it has zero gravity. Like, how did you make that, like, the axe have zero gravity? That doesn't make sense.
It's full of helium.
Yeah, helium. Yeah. Oh, it's not wood. It's just like a very like strong plastic and it has air.
The head itself is metal, but the handle's made out of like this mylar balloon, like you see it like the Dollar Tree, and they just fill it up with helium. That's what makes it so light, so that they can swing it around like that on top of a bridge. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
No, I like that theory. I think it's good. And good point bringing up the other henchman, Scarpine. Worst name and like so like not subtle about it. Like I see the scar, and it's like really like I mean they have these weird like funny names for these villains. Like still nothing will top on the top from Goldeneye. Like when she says it to the body, like on the top. I'm like, oh my god, like we went there, or Odd Job. I'm like, hey, Odd Job, and and Draws is maybe the one that's like, wow, very obvious. He is literally a shark with metal teeth.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, they always have those funny like cheeky names for these henchmen. It's always hilarious. Anyway, Tim, your thoughts on the finale? Do you like it? It's decent. Are you in the same mind as Matt is with this finale?
Well, what more could you want? I mean, we now have the first, blimp kidnapping instead of having the predatory, van kidnapping where they, drive up, slide the door open, offer you some candy and pull you in. They do it with a blimp, and not only that, but if I remember right, it's not even Scarpine that does it. I think it's the old man that pulls her into the blimp, so he must be incredibly strong, So here, again, Mr. Peanut's pulling her into the blimp and stuff, and they're cackling the whole way, and then, they get to the bridge, and there's that whole scene where Roger Moore is holding that blimp in place, which is not going to happen. It's still an airship, you know what I mean? And then he ties that knot. I was in Boy Scouts, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can't think of one knot I could tie fast enough that would hold to keep a blimp connected to a bridge like that. It's the most ridiculous thing. You probably lose your hand because they get caught while you're like trying to tie the knot or something. But yeah, so it's the most ridiculous thing. And then we go, from there, to Scarpine getting knocked out with the only gun apparently on the ship. And, so what do you grab? You grab the world's biggest freaking, fire axe, and you go, Jack from The Shining on him. He just jumps out of that thing. And he's coming at him and stuff. And I'm like, there's no way you'd have an axe that big on a freaking blimp. It makes no sense. What are you going to chop through? It's a blimp. What are you going to chop through? During that scenario, no, you're just going to die. It seems like having something big and pointy or sharp and a thing filled full of air that's basically like a giant pool balloon. Not a good idea. But yeah, then they go back and forth and they have this crazy fight and stuff. Then we get basically, we get the cool Zorin knockoff. As you said, he falls down like a 66 Batman villain, cackling all the way into the water, only to return later in another film and Batman itself. So, we get to see the return of Zorin, although it's not his name anymore, quote unquote. Yeah. And then, so now we're down to basically, the Nazi, doctor having to, take matters into his own hands to eliminate Bond and this woman. And he opens up the secret panel. And why would you have dynamite loaded in this thing? Like, were you throwing these things out for fun? Like, are you driving by and trying to blow up, mailboxes and stuff from the air? It just, like, why wouldn't you have guns in there? It seems like it should be a gun vault. It's the most ridiculous thing to just have stacks of dynamite on this airship. I can't fathom why you would have it there or what you would possibly do other than, I bet I can blow this up from here. Haha, let's see if we can do it kind of thing. It's like kids throwing firecrackers, except they're throwing sticks of dynamite, which they had bags of ammo back at the mine. So they're obviously, again, I would think you'd use dynamite normally, but that's not what they were using. So it just blows my mind that the dynamite's on this blimp for no apparent reason. And then he, of course, then Bond grabs the fire axe, wields it like Axe Cop, smashes this thing down, releases the blimp, and it blows up. He saves the day. And then, off to the typical end scene, as you pointed out, Andreas, where he's enamored the lady of the day, and they're, in the shower. And, Roger, once again, is laying pipe in this, like nobody's business. I think this is like the fourth girl. This might be the most action I've ever seen Bond get in a Bond film thus far out of all the ones I've seen. I don't know if this is typical for women in one film, but yeah, he's just laying pipe all the way through this. And and then here comes Q with this little Radio Shack dog to spy on him. So, and and then cut the end. It's just, you know what? It's ridiculous, but why not? I mean, this, like I said, this movie just can't figure out whether it wants to be serious or not, and it just, for all the ridiculousness that happens throughout this film, the ending fits.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think how many. Wait, what's the body count? You said there was 4 women that he was with.
Well, are we talking dead body count or female body count?
Yeah, we'll go with conquests.
4.
Yeah.
So there's the girl in the sub. Then
Okay.
then there's the Russian girl. There's Mayday, which I don't get that one at all because she goes in there to take him out, and I guess Roger must have tickled her just right because she let him live. And then there's there's Stacy at the end, Stacy Sutton. So yeah, 4 to my count.
I forgot about the Russian lady. She was a brief encounter in the movie. Yeah,
which is ridiculous too because they had what had he done just previous to that? He'd done something super strenuous. And then 3 minutes later, he's at some weird, like hot tub Sybaris with this Russian girl laying pipe. He's 57 years old, man. That guy, no, there's not enough Viagra in the world to keep this guy going. He's going to have a heart attack at this rate.
Yeah. Just again, they're trying too hard to make, I think they shouldn't, lean on his older age. And which is funny about it is because the last movie, Octopus, they had a good Bond girl that was around Moore's age. So it's just this is so weird when it was they were doubling down on Moore's age here and giving him all this just sleeping with women, led to life, and it's so weird and awkward. It's kind of I don't know, it was just too much. Oh, and the Russian girl, something that's interesting. See. That one could have worked if they brought in a previous character from Moore's franchise, because apparently they were trying to bring back the Russian agent from The Spy Who Loved Me. They were trying to get her back, but she declined. So this was a entirely new character they made. So I think if you brought her character back, because I always wonder, because this is not the only time the Eon Productions were trying to bring a previous Bond girl back for a film. Because there's a lot of potential there because of their relationship and all that. Because one of Brosnan's films, Tomorrow Never Dies, had one of the Bond girls, Terry Hatcher, was a former Flynn from Bond's past, and that was interesting. But I kind of wish we knew it before the movie started, right?
Yeah.
So
see, I think the thing that would have made this better is if every time Bond went to have sex with one of these women, they'd cut to her and then cut back to him, and it would have been the back of one of the stunt guys.
What is that? That is so funny.
And then it kept it all consistent all the way through. That is. And what was the movie that did that in? It was an orgasm with stunt cock.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Jesus, that is hilarious. Yeah. When he was taking a shower, when the Russian agent was leaving for that, she thought the tape she got. That could have been a great moment when we saw just not more, but the stunt devil taking a bath. And that would be funny. Yeah. Okay, let's get into ratings and get into the trailers and wrap up. So Tim, what's your rating for this film? It's out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I'm going to go right down the middle just because this movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be. I mean, it's a fun movie. I would still tell anybody who wants to watch Bond movies, it's well worth the watch. It just because it's almost so silly that it's just funny. It's almost a precursor to an Austin Powers film. It's verging on that. So it's entertaining in that regard. So I don't think it's horrible, but it's just a movie that couldn't decide what it wanted to be. And it has a much too old, Roger Moore playing James Bond in this, that it just is not believable. But it's fun. It's campy. And if you don't take it as a serious Bond film, it's enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, your rating, sir, for this film?
Out of 10, you said?
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'm just gonna go a little bit higher than Tim. I'm gonna go 5.5. Mainly because of Max Zorin. We
Yes.
have Christopher Walken as a bad guy. And his delivery of some of the lines in there it's just fun. He actually gets to say the name of the movie when they're on the blimp and they look out and Grace Jones goes, "Look at the view," and he's like, "To a kill." I'm like, that's it. That's Walken delivering the line for the movie. I think he plays a very interesting bad guy in this movie. I liked his character. I liked his performance, and I think that's the part of the movie that I like the most out of this. Tim did hit it on the head that this movie doesn't quite know what to make of itself, and it is it's Roger Moore's last movie as James Bond. He's definitely aged out of this. So yeah, 5.5 stars for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of I kind of with you, Matt. I'm gonna go put this a little upper. I'm gonna give this a 6 out of 10. I was just shocked how not bad this film really was. Like from hearing everyone, their criticisms and the talk about this film particularly, I was like, oh, it's not the worst Bond film ever. Like I will still give it to like Quantum of Solace, the second Craig film. That's really bad. Just because it's such a moment of a film, because it's trying too hard to be a Bourne film, and yada yada yada, all that. With this one, it's like pure Bond Moore film. Like if you see his other films, it's what you're gonna get: a very campy, fun adventure film with great action, and that's what I got here. And at least this had a great villain with Soren, like because the previous villain from Octopussy was okay. I thought this was a step up from the villains from that movie. I thought this was a step up, which is good. And first off, the Bond music from John Barry and Duran Duran, like you put that together, that's a great score for this film. If you didn't pay attention, like the composers do use the Bond titles music as the theme for the score, and I love what John Barry did for the score here. Like when I hear the rhythm and the sample from A View to a Kill from Duran Duran from John Barry, I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. It's like it sounds like a superhero theme, and oh man, it's really great. But I agree with Tim. It's a movie that is so over the tone. Like it's trying to be serious and it's trying to be funny, which is not good. And the plot is like you got two plots. One plot I'm more interesting than the other, and the supporting characters is okay. The Bond girl is hot, but she's the weakest we gotten. But it's not her fault. I just feel like they miscast her. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the View to a Kill. And happy 40th anniversary. It's crazy. 40 years, it still looks good. Like it's not dated. It feels like. I mean, I don't know during the days, but like it looks top notch. The Bond people knew how to make a great action Bond film. So that's our thoughts on A View to a Kill. I want to thank Tim and Matt for joining me. And before we go, I hope you guys can stick around a little bit to react to these trailers. And I'm curious. Have you guys seen Fallout Season 1 in Amazon Prime? Are you guys a big fan of those games?
Oh yeah, I've watched the first season, and I played a little bit of the game. My son's played it, and he's done what they call platinum it. He has played every aspect of the game, done every adventure from one to the other. He's completed it, every additional expansion pack. So he's done it all. So I don't know how many hours. I started playing it, and I enjoyed it a lot. But I got to a point where you can start to build your own little town, and I must have spent 8 hours just working on my town one day. And I'm like, I didn't even accomplish anything. Like I can't play this because this game's going to be a total time suck. I'll be on this it'll take up the rest of my year to play this game. So I kind of dropped out of it after that because I realized it was too engrossing. But I love the TV series. I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, Matt, your thoughts on the Fallout?
I haven't actually watched the TV series yet. I have heard Tim talk about it a lot on our podcast when we talk about what you're watching. And I like Walter Goggins, so it's just a matter of trying to carve out some time to watch it. I do have Prime, so I do plan on watching it someday. It'll probably be 5 years from now when I actually have some free time to watch a new TV series. But from what Tim's told me about it, I think it's going to be moving up my list pretty soon. So
yeah, I'm with Tim. So I'm not a video game person, so I haven't really played the Fallout game, but I got into this franchise because of the show. The show is really amazing. I think it's one of Prime's best TV shows they have produced. It's the same people that did Westworld. If you like that show, Jonathan Nolan's in this with his wife, Leslie Joy Nolan. Fantastic adaptation. One of the best video game adaptations. That's a hard bar. Like the Sonic film franchise is really good. I see those. They're great adaptations. But like this is like top tier. Like really incredible.
They did it right. They did it right.
Yeah, they did. Like I seen so many videos of like the Fallout games and like the lore, and I'm like, how did they able to adapt this? But they just took the core elements that worked for the game and made it into the show, which is incredible. So and just before we get into trailer, me and the MC Blue Ange are going to review this for season 2 because we did review season 1 like 2 years ago. That was fun. So we're going to do it again when this came out in December 17th. We're going to do it like week by week for each episode because I know they drop out, like they drop like these episodes like all together like Netflix. So okay, so let's pull this together. Give me a minute here to do the auto cancellation, which is annoying.
I'm super excited because this is the first time I'm seeing the trailer for the new season.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so this is the full-on first trailer because they had one like 2 months ago that was like the teaser trailer, which is good.
So I've seen a lot of things. Many a deer have to fall. Crazy things. Unnatural things. In the game. But good people? No. That girl I met. All in the wonderful game. I would be a good person too if I grew up in some cozy little impenetrable home. I would have to steal and stab and fib all the goddamn time just to get by.
What exactly is it you plan on doing once we find your daddy?
Gonna bring him to justice. So people know that how they conduct themselves matters. And they don't give up hope.
The stuff we fight for, story has it you used to believe in those things too.
I've been wastelanding for 200 years. I've kept myself alive for one reason. To find my family.
Well then, you're gonna need friends. There's a war coming.
Soon he'll be there at your side. With a sweet bouquet. I understand we're discussing the Civil War. I must not have gotten my invitation. And he'll kiss your lips and caress your waiting.
We're actually beginning to get along.
Try again.
So this is Vegas, huh? I'd ask why my dad ran into a den of monsters, but he'd probably just tell me to shut the fudge up.
The trailer. You should tell me to shut the fudge up. That is so funny. When she said that, I was like, oh my god, she's Amazing. Oh wow, great trailer. I'm very excited. I can't believe we're almost done with November and we're going into December, which is crazy. But time flies. So let me start with Tim. What do you thought about this trailer? I actually really like it. It's really top notch.
Oh yeah, it looks fantastic. I can't wait to see this when it comes out. I mean, they nailed this game so well. The visuals, the landscapes, the gadgets, everything, just fantastic. So, and Walter Goggins, he just totally throws it over the top, being the ghoul. So, this is going to be a fantastic watch.
Yeah, me too. I'm very curious about the character. Some of the actors. I can't believe Cuban, Andy's in this show. That's an incredible casting there, and yeah, and very excited to see the returning characters, especially Lucy. She was my favorite, and very excited to see her again. Matt, your thoughts on this trailer? Is it gonna push your list now a little up or down?
I think this might. I mean, we got Kyle MacLachlan in there, and I like Kyle ever since I seen him in the first Dune film with directed by David Lynch. So, and I got some Dune vibes watching this too. So I'm like, oh, hey, look, there's some sand, there's some ships, there's some more sand. Yeah. So,
yeah, it's just like Star Wars Episode 2. The sand is hot. It gets into your face.
Is it just me, or was that Macaulay Culkin in there too?
Macaulay Culkin.
I swear to God, this is my second time watching this. Yes, it is, and it's kind of crazy they got him too. Jesus, a great cast here this season.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, they offered you, a role in this. Would you not take it? I mean, it's
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I'm looking at the casting and see is it official. Maybe I have to go to season 2, but yeah, this is really exciting time for me. And hopefully, that was the kid from Home Alone. He's in it. He's in the list. So, and Justin was it Theros, great actor. He was in of course The Leftovers and Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. He's playing one of the major characters from the game from the Fallout Las Vegas games. So very curious how his role is going to be. So yeah, that's our thoughts on the Fallout. Now our next and last one is from the MonsterVerse, and this is Monarch Legacy of Monsters. This is season 2, and just Red Robin. Matt, have you seen this show? Are you an Apple TV Plus person?
I am not an Apple TV Plus person, but I have watched all the Monarch movie films. So like Godzilla, King Kong, Godzilla versus King Kong, whatever that last one was, Godzilla plus King Kong with the Justice League or something like that. I don't know, whatever they were throwing at it. The MCU was thrown in there too.
It is.
Godzilla versus Godzilla, the ultimate throwdown.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm looking forward to when they bring in Mechazilla.
Yes, I know. It's kind of crazy they didn't do that yet. Tim, have you seen the show, or are you a big fan of the franchise in general?
Not a huge fan of the franchise. I am going to watch this. It's on my radar. I just haven't made it to it yet.
Yeah. Same here. I'm a big. I mean, how to say it? Like, my family are big fans of this franchise, especially Godzilla. My dad loved Godzilla when he was alive, and so it's special on our hearts in the House of Diaz. And we like the films. I mean, Kong Squirrel Island, the best film of that franchise. But the new one came out, the new Empire. That's the last one we got from last year, was pretty good. It was a good kaiju movie. You knew what it was, unlike A View to a Kill. Like that one, like that movie knew what it was. Which was great. And me and Jeff been talking about it. Like, maybe we want to review some Apple TV shows in the future, because I mean, so many good content they have there. I mean, besides this show, I know Severance is a big talking show as of late, and
Joey loves Severance.
Oh really? Okay. My friends been bugging me. I was like, hey, you seen the show? I'm like, no. But I think it could happen. So hopefully I get back to Jeff and show him this trailer, and it's like, okay, I really wanted to just do this and view it, and like, because it looks so good, and then the casting is great. So so let's get this.
Attention surfers, the beach is closed. This is a high alert Titan area.
What the hell's that sound?
That was a quick teaser. I forgot this is quick. Okay, that was Monarch the Legacy of Monsters. Pretty good. Tim, what do you thought about this one?
You know what? It's got Kurt Russell in it. How can you go wrong? I mean, you can't go wrong with Snake Plissken being in anything. So I was pretty much sold on that, even though I'm not a big Godzilla or King Kong guy. You put Kurt Russell in it, I'm there.
Yeah. And his son is in the show as well. Pretty cool. Matt, your thoughts on this trailer?
I'm going to literally echo Tim in the fact that I'm going to say that anything that's got Jack Burton, aka Kurt Russell, in it, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, same here. Great cast. I saw a couple of actors from a movie I recently saw called Rental Family. There, two of the cast members from that. That's a new Brendan Fraser film that's coming out this week actually. Really great film. I saw those two. I saw one of the actors that I heard that's really great in this show. She's coming back, which is good. One of the actors from Shogun is here as well. She's the main focal point of the show, so that's interesting. And yeah, Kurt Russell is here, which is great. I mean, come on. You got Snake Plissken. You got the Big Trouble, Little Trouble guy. I forgot his name.
Big Trouble, Little China.
Yeah, Little China. I forgot his name.
Jack Burton.
Oh, Jack Burton. Oh, that's such an easy name to remember. Oh, I'm sorry. I should just hand my John Carpenter fan medal.
Yeah, I'll take that very much next to the your Stanley Kubrick card.
Oh my God, no! I need to keep my Stanley Kubrick card. But
yeah, got up and gave that. I think the last couple times we've done Stanley Kubrick, I beat you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tim has your card right now.
No, don't even bring that up. That's too much. That's too much painful memories and trauma. As a Stanley Kubrick fan. But no, you're rightly so. Caught me. Thank you, sir. You're the true Kubrick fan, not me. I'm ashamed now.
No, it's all good, man.
Yeah, but no. I thought this trailer was good. It's very interesting. I mean, for a show with monsters, it's like the special effects look really top notch, which is great.
Yeah, the monsters do look good.
Yeah, and the con design is like a mixture of like his because his design in the later movies are very old, like much older and a little more rarey. Here they're like mixing it. His design to be more like a bridge point where you see his beard that's like in the new ones, but he has his more of con scroll item design, which is cool. I always like that design.
Is it the same monkey? Maybe they're leaning into the Son of Kong.
That's one thing they did, and kind of in that new one, but that's
not to be confused with Donkey Kong Jr.
No. Good point. Yeah, enjoy movie. But yeah, so I really like this trailer. I'm very curious if or not the MCU will tackle this because it looks good. So, but yeah, so that's the end of our live stream. I just want to thank my two guests, Matt and Tim. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I was hoping to make this quick, 1 hour. But the movie was so long and so many plot points I had to keep up. It's
oh, you could just say we're long-winded.
Yeah. Long-winded, but a fun one, I have to say. So thank you for your patience and fun discussion we had tonight, sir, you guys.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. So just briefly, just plug the NCAA Edge, like what was going on with our content for this week. Wednesday, we're back again to review. What's the show? Oh, Welcome to Dairy. We're reviewing that. That was my pick. I was very happy we got it. They liking that show, which is good. We're up to episode 4, so Saber's gonna moderate that. Friday, I don't know what movie we're gonna do, so I'll probably know that by Wednesday, and see what we're gonna do. But last Friday, I did my movie pick was 28 Days Later, so you can check that out. That was really awesome to do because it took forever for that movie to be on like an extreme service or something like that. It was hard to see that movie a long time before the new movie came out this year. So, but yeah, and our next Bond live stream view will be GoldenEye, the 1995 film. So that's going to be on the 30th, and I have a couple guests there. I know Luke from Franchise Addict will be there. Matt from Born to Watch will probably be there as well. I need to confirm again if they're, again, the schedules are good for that week. But yeah, I just want to thank you two for coming for tonight. This was a blast. I was like hoping you guys were coming through tonight, and it was just like, oh my God, thank you. Because, I didn't know if Jeff, I didn't know if Jeff was going to come, and so that's good.
We're happy to help you out, Andreas.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was fun to watch the movie.
Yeah, and so before I end the stream, any plugs you want to do that's upcoming for your for my readers to like watch out now? And
Oh yeah. You want me to handle this one, Tim?
Sure.
Okay. So, hey, if you folks like James Bond, why not come check out the MAM Reviews podcast, where we talk about a movie that was inspired by James Bond by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. We currently have Raiders of the Lost Ark, a triumvirate of filmmaking excellence out there on the pod listening sites. So your Spotify, your Apple, your Spreaker, YouTube, you got it. You can check that episode out now. It's out live. Coming up next weekend, we're going to be having The Quiet Earth, where Tim, Rick, and I sit down and we discuss a New Zealand 1985 classic starring Bruno Lawrence, where they talk about all sorts of things like the Night of the Comet, zombie movies, anything that has to do with like Last Man on Earth. So check us out there. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, X, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram. We're out there. It's the Middle Age Movie Reviews podcast. You just look us up as Middle Age Movie Reviews or M.A.M. Reviews out there on the interwebs.
Yeah, MAM Reviews podcast. You'll find us on YouTube.
Yes, please check out their content. They're really awesome. If anyone knows where I'm at with AirPod, I'm in the Scream. I'm in my last time was, I think, the Naked Gun was like in April. So that was like the last time I was with you guys. And I was in many others, like 2001. I was in there as well. So, but if you want to see my my guest spot with these guys, I have it there on Andreas Pop Culture guest spot playlist. You can check it there. I always, 1 month or 2 month, I update that, and of the guest spots I'm in with other pods. So that's where I'm at with these guys. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening to watching live stream view of View to the Kill, the Bond Mania 40th anniversary for this one. So thank you so much. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.